All right, hello sixth graders, welcome to 2.6. Chapter 2 is fractions and decimals. And section 6 is dividing decimals. Learning target today, I can explain how to divide decimals. Okay. Sometimes this can be one of the trickier ones for students to do, but I'll go over this one pretty thoroughly, just to kind of make sure we understand. Let's look at the key idea here. It says dividing decimals by whole numbers. So that's when one number is a decimal and one's a whole number, and we'll get into when they're both decimals what you do. Okay, so it says place the decimal point in the quotient above the decimal point in the dividend. Then divide as you would with whole numbers and continue until there's no remainder. All right, to see what that looks like in a model, we have 7.32 divided by 4. We just bring our decimal point straight up, is what they mean by that. Okay, place the decimal point in the quotient above the decimal point in the dividend. Remember, this is the dividend, comes at the end. Dividend comes at the end. This is the divisor out here, and the quotient is the answer to your division problem, right? So that model can be pretty helpful. All right, let's set that up then in a problem. I've got 7.6. And also remember that this first number always goes on the inside of your long division problem. Sometimes that can be tricky to remember. I've got 7.6 divided by 4, right? What I like to do right away is to bring my decimal point straight up right away, so I don't forget about it. And now I just divide as I would with whole numbers. So 4 goes into 7 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract, I get 3, and bring down my 6. And 4 goes into 36 9 times. 9 times 4 is 36, so I'd have no remainder. So my answer would be 1.9. Let's just do a little estimating, make sure that makes sense. Well, 7.6 rounds to 8, and 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. Is that reasonable? Yeah, 2 is really close to 1.9, so that makes sense. Okay. For letter B, following the same pattern, I've got 4.38, right, 4.38 divided by, my first number goes inside my long division sign, 12. Okay, I'm going to bring my decimal point straight up. Okay. And looking at this problem, I had a bigger number divided by a smaller number, so my answer should be greater than 1. But in this case, where I have a smaller number first divided by a bigger number, I would expect that my answer is going to be smaller than 1, right? Well, let's bring our decimal point straight up here. And 12 goes into 4. It doesn't go into 4. 12 doesn't go into 4, so it's going to be 0 point something. How about into 43? 12 goes into 43 3 times, and 3 times 12 is 36. I'll subtract and get the difference between these 43 and 36 is 7. And then I'll bring down my 8. Okay, 12 goes into 78. Oh, let's see, 6 times. And 12 times 6 would give me 72. And if I subtracted, I would get 6. And remember, that's not enough, so I can always add zeros to the end to bring down. And 12 goes into 60 would be 5 times. And 12 times 5 is 60, so I'd have nothing remaining. Okay, so my answer is 0.365 or 365 thousandths. Box my answer, and my work is all right there. Okay, why don't you go ahead and pause the video here, and try the 6 on your own problems to see what you come up with. All right. Number 1, 18.2. Number 2, 3.7. Number 3 is 8.52. Number 4 is 3.09. Number 5 is 1.55. And lastly, number 6 is 0.195. This kind of looks like a negative. I'll just put an arrow. Okay. If you didn't get that, rework one of those problems. If you didn't get that, or ask a friend or ask me, and I can help you out. Moving on then to the next key idea is, what if now we have a decimal divided by another decimal? Okay. So in words, multiply the divisor and the dividend by a power of 10 to make the divisor a whole number. To make the divisor a whole number. Remember, that's this outside number. Maybe you want to put in here outside number. It's outside the long division sign. Then place the decimal point in the quotient. Okay, quotient. And divide as you would with whole numbers. Continue until there is no remainder. All right, so as you'll see here, we had 4.56 divided by 1.2. So we have a decimal being divided by another decimal. The trick is to make this outside number a whole number. And to do that, we just move our decimal one spot to the right. In other words, same thing as multiplying by 10. So if you move your decimal point one spot in the divisor, you also have to move it one spot in the dividend, making this new rewritten problem 45.6 divided by 12 instead of 4.56 divided by 1.2. And then it's similar to what we just did. Okay? So let's try one out. 18.2, first number goes inside the long division sign, divided by 1.4. Again, I want my divisor to be a whole number, so I'm going to move this one spot to the right. If I do that, I also need to move my decimal one spot to the right in the dividend. So this now becomes 182 divided by 14, which is convenient because now we're just dividing whole numbers instead of having to worry about decimals, right? So if I were to round and just give myself an estimate here, 100, well, let's just do it. 14 goes into 18 one time. 1 times 14 is 14. Subtract, and I would get 4, and I'd bring down my 2. And 14 goes into 42. How many times? Well, that would be 3, because 3 times 14 is 42. And I wouldn't have any remainder. Okay. Let's try letter B as well. I've got 0.273, or 273 thousandths, divided by 0.39, or 39 hundredths. Again, the trick, make my outside number a whole number. Well, you'll see this time we need to move it 2 spots to make it 39. And in my other number, if I moved it 2 spots in the divisor, I need to move it 2 spots in the dividend. So now this becomes 27.3 divided by 39. Okay, remember to bring your decimal point straight up, and 39 goes into 27. Well, it doesn't go into 27, 0. Now we have to estimate how many times it goes into 273. Well, if I rounded this to 40, 40 times 7 would be close, be 280. Okay, sorry I got cut off, but I think I left off with saying if we round 39 to 40, and 40 goes into 270, well, 40 times 7 would give me 280, which is close, so I'll try 7. So 39 times 7, let's see, 63, carry my 6, 21 plus 6, 27, perfect. It's 273, so there'd be nothing left. So 0.7 or 7/10 will be my answer. Okay. 7, 8, 9, and 10 for the Oyos. Please pause and try it out. Okay. For 7, should get 8. For 8, you should get 17. For 9, 9.41. And for 10, 0.9. Okay. Let's move on to example 3, where it says inserting zeros in the dividend and the quotient. We've got divide 2.45 divided by 0.007. Okay, so first number goes inside. 2.45 divided by 0.007. Now to make my divisor a whole number, I need to move it 1, 2, 3 spots to make it 7. And this number, when I move it 3 spots, 1, 2, 3, you'll notice that I need to add in a 0 here. That's what they're talking about with inserting zeros. So now this becomes 2,450 divided by 7. Okay, 7 goes into 24 3 times, which is 21. Subtract, get 3, bring down my 5. 7 goes into 35 5 times, which is 35. 0, bring down my other 0, and 7 doesn't go in there any times. So 350 would be my answer. So be careful, once in a while you'll have to add in a 0 in the dividend. Okay. So more Oyos for 11, 12, 13, 14. Pause once more. Try these ones. And for 11, it is 23.75. For 12, it is 20. For 13, it is 150. And for 14, it is 60. Okay. Moving on to the very last example, the real life application. This might seem a little bit old now that we're in 2019, but holy smokes, flip phones were the bee's knees when I was in high school. That might age me a little bit, but it says how many times more cell phone subscribers were there in 2011 than in 1991. You'll see in 1991 there were not very many, and in 2011 it is just skyrocketed. I think I would be surprised if less than 85% of people didn't have one these days. I feel like everybody has a cell phone. Okay, and then lastly, round to the nearest whole number. Okay, keyword here is how many times more. It's going to actually tell us to divide. So we'll take our total that we have in 2011, which is 331.59, and that's in millions, divided by how many we had in 91, which was 7. Oops, my 3 get erased. 7.6. If you remember, make your outside number a whole number. So move it 1 spot in both the divisor and dividend. So that gives me 33159, and my decimal would go here, divided by 76. All right, 76 goes into, let's see, 331. 76 goes into 331. I'm gonna guess 4 times. And 4 times 76 would give me 304. Subtract, I would get 27. And bring down my 5. And 76 goes into 275 3 times. And 3 times 76 give me 228. Add, subtract, and come up with, difference here would be borrow 747. And bring down my 9. And 76 goes into this number 6 times, which should be 456. Subtract, get 23. And one thing I forgot to do, hopefully you caught it, was I didn't bring my decimal up right away, so I'll do that right now. So to get 43.6, and remember in the question it said round to the nearest whole number, so I'm going to stop dividing right here, and 43.6 would round to 44. And remember remember about your label. So how many times more cell phone subscriber? 44 times more subscribers, abbreviate that, in 2011 than 1991. Wow, what an increase there. Technology changed so fast. Like I said, these used to be great, man. But okay, hopefully that makes sense for 2.6. Biggest thing would be keeping track of that decimal point, making sure you're multiplying it by a factor of 10 to get your outside number or your your divisor to a whole number. Okay. If you have any more questions with that, please feel free to ask, and we'll see you next time.